Hello, guys. I'd like to welcome you to another episode. This is the second British Grand Prix episode, and this was Ivan. What did you think about Sunday?
Eh, it wasn't like it still wasn't a good race.
It was
Let's just like
Mercedes.
the race itself was pretty boring because there was not a lot of
Yes.
overtakes, there was not a lot of action, but the
Yes.
strategy game is what made it a lot more interesting than the previous week's one.
Now that you mentioned strategy, there's something we need to tell guys. Last weekend actually, they were running a softer compound than the first British Grand Prix.
Like I
So
predicted
the
earlier.
first one, yes, the first British Grand Prix, the mediums they were using there were the hards this time. You see, they're using the C3 compound, which is I think it's like a tire softer.
Yeah,
Plus
it's one
the-
step. It's one step
It's
softer.
one step. It's one step softer. So last week, the medium guys were using was the hard for this weekend. That's why Max went out in Q2 using the hard, and that I think that was a great call by Red Bull, man. That was a great call.
Yeah.
But you see, he struggled as much. And another thing guys need to know is that you have to use two different tires for every race. That's I think one thing not many guys knew.
Yeah.
That you cannot stick to the same compound. You cannot go out on a hard and then pit and use a hard again. You have to go out on a soft or a medium. You see. So and that's if you're doing a one stop. If you're doing two stop, you can split it all up. You see. So another thing is the Racing Point incident. I think now McLaren, we've got a news that McLaren and Williams have pulled out from the appeal. What other team? Right,
No,
I think
that's
just
it. That's
Ferrari
it. McLaren and
and Williams.
actually, yeah, we didn't hear what Red Bull is going to do, but we know for
No.
sure that Ferrari and Renault are continuing,
I think
and
Red Bull.
Williams
There's-
and McLaren have pulled out. And
There's
you
something-
know why I think it is?
Uh-huh.
I think it's because McLaren McLaren not now, but soon, and Williams are Mercedes powered.
Yeah.
So I think
So-
they're not going to go against another Mercedes team and cause bad tensions with Mercedes because of this whole
Yes,
case.
yes, yes.
Well, the other
And
guys
also-
who are not Mercedes powered are the ones who are now also protesting.
And Ivan, another thing we need to add is that Racing Point is actually the reason that they have this whole thing. The first issue was the front brake ducts, but it turns out that the front brake ducts were allowed on that car. So the problem came in when the guys noticed that the rear brake ducts are from last year's Mercedes. And you see what happened? Okay, the front brake ducts, yes, they're also from last year's Mercedes, but you see they evolved with the car. They were on the car last year. So FIA didn't have an issue with that. And also there's a new law that brake ducts are now listed parts. Listed parts means that you cannot take, you see, like Racing Point is basically a smaller Mercedes team. So you can't take parts from your car and put them on the smaller Mercedes team. That's actually, Ivan, that's now why Red Bull cannot interfere with this. Because you see, they have Alpha.
Yeah, probably.
And if they interfere, they're going to mess up their season next year and the new regulations. Because you see, most of the things on the AlphaTauri team are on that was last year's Red Bull car basically. You see, and they've always done
with
that.
some changes, but yeah.
Yes, and they've always done that. So if they get involved in this right now, it's going to create a whole situation for them that I do not think they want to deal with. You see. So I was reading about it it was on motorsports.com. There was something else I wanted to add. Yes, someone said that Christian Horner is trying to avert the guys' eyes away from Red Bull because it's like there's something Red Bull is doing. I don't know what it is. But Red Bull's pace on Sunday, dude, it was something else. It was something else because we didn't expect that. Okay, I expected the Mercedes to struggle in the heat, you see, and on that tire compound. We both knew they were gonna struggle on that tire compound. But
Yeah.
did you expect Red Bull not to? Like Red Bull was, dude. Red Bull on that first stint, Red Bull was perfect. When Max said he's going all out, did you see those tires? Those tires weren't that bad. But
Yeah, I
the
didn't
Mercedes
think
tires,
that it was going to be that big of a difference until I saw by what was it, like lap 7, Mercedes was saying our tires are bad, we're struggling, and Max was like
Yes.
catching them at a rate of knots. And I knew from that point that Red Bull are going to win this because if
Yes.
if Mercedes are eating their hard tires in 7 laps, yeah, they
There
can't do
was no
anything.
way. There was no way they were going. Even if they have what this, there's a friend. There's a friend of ours called George. I don't know if you know him. He kept on arguing with me, saying that if Mercedes pitted Hamilton earlier, they would have won. I told him, dude, there's no way they would have won that race, because
No.
Max Aziz was 7 seconds ahead. Hamilton's tires were just going. Dude, did you see his tires after the race?
Yeah,
And
they
he
were gone.
beat
They're all
it.
blistered
Dude,
already.
they were done. If we had one more lap, do you think he would have finished? But Hamilton was, dude, he caught Leclerc. I think Hamilton went out on a serious lap. And by the guys, there's been some more news. FIA wants to ban qualifying modes. That extra
Yeah, more
engine mode they
Mercedes
have.
news.
So that is gonna be, this. I think Ross Brown is trying to piss off Mercedes. I don't know what he's doing.
No,
But
they're doing a lot
he's-
of stuff against Mercedes now. Not only
Yes.
so first of all, the whole thing with Racing Point. So that's a scandal that Mercedes is heavily involved in because it is parts
Yes.
off of their car. Then we have that whole new Concords agreement that needs to be signed. I don't know what's
And,
the limit. I think it was the 18th, but I'll have to
Merce-
double check.
I
That
think
is
Mercedes-
heavily
Mercedes
going
British.
against Mercedes. That's another thing they have against them. And now they also have this qualifying engine modes that are also
Yes.
heavily targeted against Mercedes as well. So
Because-
so FIA has been seriously cracking down on Mercedes this season for some reason.
Because we've all seen Mercedes quali mods for years, banner. Ever since Rosberg was in Formula One banner. You remember when Vettel would tell him, "Are you guys sure you don't have an extra quali mod?" And this guy's like, "No, we don't have any." And the next press briefing, he'd come and say, "We turned up the engines, party mode was working." You're like, "What? You just told Vettel you don't have any more power, any more power modes. What's going on here?" You see. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's really going on between Mercedes and the FIA, but it's like, cause even Toto said he feels like guys are against Mercedes right now. So we don't.
I mean,
Mercedes-
to an extent, I kind of agree with it because
They're making-
it's
they're
about
making the
time we
sport
got
boring.
more entertainment in the sport.
yes,
And the only
that's
team
very, very
standing in the way of us having entertaining sport,
Is-
it's not
Mercedes.
about being whatever. People can argue that other teams have to style up, whatever, but we still want entertainment, and entertainment is what sells F1 to the public as well.
Exactly.
And the
And-
only
and-
thing standing in the way right now is Mercedes. So I see why they're starting.
F1 is all about racing side. Like, want to see proper side by side action. You see, so far the max side by side action we've seen is maybe someone hitting a wall. We've not seen anyone. Okay, we had a good race in the first race of the year. That's the only good race. You see, the rest you can't speak the same about them. What else? But racing, Hulkenberg did a really good job. But that last pit stop, that was crap, man.
Yeah,
That
they were
was-
saying his tires were running out, and yeah, he needed to pit. Otherwise, he would have finished, I think, P5 if he didn't pit last minute.
Do you think Albon would have taken him?
It would have been close, but I think he had a good enough safety net that he would have still finished ahead. But yeah, a lot of people were pissed off saying that, oh, they only pitted him so that this guy
Yeah,
did
so
not
that
beat
Stroll-
Stroll and so
so
forth.
that
But
Stroll
I think
could
that's
move
just
forward.
conspiracy theories.
Another thing, Ivan, is that the Red Bull. Okay, let's talk about the Red Bull car. Red Bull. You said you don't watch FP1 and FP2. I follow the whole weekend. FP1 and FP2, Red Bull always struggles for some reason. Sometimes FP1 they're going to go quickest sour, but FP2 when they're doing the quali runs, those guys really struggle. FP3 just becomes bad for them. You see, qualifying is another disaster for them. But for some reason, that car on race day, I don't know what kind of luck they have. And even Albon spoke about this. Albon said, "We have bad practice, we have bad qualifying, but race day the car just comes alive." Like, what is going on there? What have they done? What do they do different to the car?
No, as I said, I think they just got lucky with the tires. I think Red Bull has always been more of a chassis-focused team.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
think when you do focus on that, your car tends to be a little bit better. Like, we've never had, go as far back as like 2013, even further back. But Red Bull has never really had serious tires issues. Like, they have been one of the teams that have complained less than others about tire issues. So it's not surprising that they've done well when the tires suit them more.
Yes, they've learned to work around the tire issues at most. Because Mercedes, you remember in early 2018, they had, I think, rare tire issues.
No, Mercedes have always had tire issues.
Mercedes, Ivan, there was a time it was so bad that they had to change the rim design. Was it 2018 or 2017? Because Ferrari has also...
the rim design was 2018. They changed the rear rim to have passages through it to cool down.
You remember they had serious tire issues. You see, Ferrari, the same thing. Red Bull, we've never had them really complain about tires, to be honest. You see?
Yeah.
And that's how, Ferrari right now is doing, I think, Vettel is just messed up, man. I don't know if you should blame the team anymore, if you should blame Vettel, because Leclerc, if we're blaming the team and Ferrari, Leclerc is overdriving the car then. Leclerc is doing wonders with that Ferrari. If it's like that.
I think, because, I watch some other podcasts as well, and read some other articles as well. Every team has a favorite driver. And a driver that, despite whatever they say on media, that driver is going to get priority in the team. With Mercedes, it's Hamilton. Regardless of what Bottas does, Hamilton will still get priority because his name and his success is what Mercedes want. And they want Mercedes to be associated with the greatest of all time. So, of course, they're going to prioritize Hamilton over Bottas. And I think in Ferrari right now, the same thing is happening. I think they are prioritizing Leclerc more. So I think, because, there was that whole thing where they're saying they were changing the floor of Vettel's car, they were changing some other aero stuff of Vettel's car. So I think
was the first one.
They're prioritizing Leclerc and Leclerc's car more than they are Vettel's. And I think Vettel is fed up with it. And he's refusing to properly drive for them now.
Ivan, you remember the first Britain Grand Prix? That was last week, 2 weeks ago. Last week but one. Vettel's car. You remember he couldn't go into FP1 because they were fixing some things on the car. FP2, he goes out. This guy, there were things in the car that weren't closed because he kept on catching something with his foot and saying, there's something that's loose in the car. Like that is, and you see, it's something so small. These guys, you want to tell me, Evan, they couldn't take the time to just close whatever is loose inside the car?
As I said, I think he's leaving the team.
Yeah,
the Ferrari, instead of showing him support and being like, you're leaving, but let's at least make our last season fun and good, McLaren is doing with Sainz and Renault is doing with Ricciardo. They've decided to just sort of screw him over. Let's just focus on Leclerc, and he's noticed it. I think he's noticed that as well. And it's affecting him as a driver, and that's causing him to... Okay, let's say he's underperforming the car, but the only reason he's underperforming the car is because he has no motivation to overperform the car.
And I think he's not being treated well in that team, to be honest. Because you had the team radio. You told these guys, you guys have messed up. We talked about this, and this is on you. This is not on me. You see. So the spin in the beginning, the car just didn't. It didn't look that. If you compare it to Leclerc, honestly, and it's not that Vettel. Guys keep on saying Vettel is just good at spinning. Guys, Vettel is a 4-time world champion. He didn't get there for nothing. We can do a whole podcast just talking about Vettel.
And he's won. I think he still holds the record for the most Grand Prix wins in a row. So it's not like he doesn't know what he's doing. It's just he has no motivation to do well.
Vettel is really, let me not lie to you, Vettel is really good, but he just needs, as you said, he needs the right motivation. And you see how Ferrari treated him and what he said at the beginning of he said that, because as we're told, Vettel knows, Vettel came and said he wasn't told a thing. He was just told, you're being replaced by Carlos Sainz. That's not a way. Honestly, if I was a driver, I'd also feel pain, man. You'd feel that wasn't cool of Ferrari, you see. And I think that's what's hurting. He still feels the pain till now. He feels like, these guys are not treating me right. You see. Also, another thing we need to talk about, man, is Mercedes messing up Bottas. And
Yeah,
that's not your area.
I mean, the thing that's annoying about that whole situation, right, is that so the way Mercedes describe their philosophy is that whoever is leading the race, whoever is ahead of the other teammate, is the one who gets priority in strategy. That's how they've always described their whole philosophy.
Now, that is for most teams.
Yes. So what happened is Bottas pitted, and he expected Hamilton to pit either with him or just a lap later. But what Mercedes did is they used Bottas's tires to check their condition in order to then tell Hamilton to stay out or not. So, which is literally, you're not giving Bottas, who was leading the whole race, leading ahead of Hamilton, the priority strategy. So, like, if your philosophy is what you say it is, you should have then used Hamilton's tires to tell Bottas whether to continue or not, and not the other way around. And he wasn't, even after all of that, he wasn't given a choice to defend back. He was just sort of left out. Oh, Hamilton's on fresher tires. Oh, there you go. That's it. You have no other choice now.
Dude,
you get to finish third.
Hamilton closed that gap so quick. At some point, I felt like Hamilton was playing around with the Ferrari. Because this guy closed those gaps so damn quickly. It was even scary. He closed that gap instantly. Like, he got out of the pits. And the gap wasn't the gap wasn't small. That's the thing. The gap between him and third place was not small. Hamilton closed that gap before he even cleared that outlap. He closed that gap already. And the gap he closed against Bottas, that was just sad. But what they're doing to Bottas is honestly not. Because at this pace, Bottas ain't going to win a championship. But this is where it gets interesting, Ivan. This weekend, Spain might be hotter than Britain.
It's already hot. People who are there already, they said it's already really hot in Spain.
Even though we're going back to an older tire, we're going back to the, what else? Was it the C4? We're going back to the C2s. We had run the C3 and C4, those are softer compounds. So we're going back to the C2s. Okay, that's the tire that they ran in the first Grand Prix, and we're going back to normal tire pressures. I still think it's gonna, because Mercedes and heat does not work well. You see, if they can slow them down, even if it's just by a second, we're gonna get some interesting racing, man. But we all know that the record is gonna be broken this weekend for the track. They did it during testing, and I think that Mercedes is gonna do it again. But I think we're gonna have a good weekend. We should have a good weekend, hopefully.
I mean, the way it's going right now. Max is now second in the championship, so he's even overtaken Bottas. And if Mercedes have another bad race because of tires, and let's say Lewis DNFs, let's say his tire blows up this time and he can't control it, and he goes into a wall and he DNFs, this means we actually could still have an interesting season, because it will mean that Max will only be like a couple of points behind Lewis again.
Lewis is at 100 and what points? 107.
He's like 30. He's 30 points ahead of Max.
Yes, and Max is at 77.
Yeah, so if it's 170 and 77. So if Lewis DNFs and Max wins in this next race, it's going to be just 5 points.
Yes. Because, we have a couple of hot races coming up. We have Mugello is going to be very hot. I think is Imola going to be hot? I'm not sure about Imola. Anyway, we'll see ahead. Right now, after this weekend, that race, it wasn't too bad, to be honest. But it was a bad race for, Haas. Haas is just going the wrong way, man. Hey, I don't know what Haas needs. I don't know if it's new regulations. What do you think, Ivan?
They're suffering the same way as Alpha is suffering, It's this new Ferrari power unit it's not new. They have last year's one, but they're not allowed to use the cheating fuel regulator thing. So all the advantage that they had with the power unit is gone, and their aero is not that good to begin with. So they don't have a competitive car anymore.
Yes, compared to last year, remember they used to finish. They had a few weekends where they got into Q3. This season they can't even get into Q2. You see, and Haas the same thing. Williams is the team. Let me not lie to you. Williams next year. I have a feeling we're gonna see Williams at the top of the midfield next season, because they have really gotten their shit together this season. To be honest.
Yeah,
This
as
is
long
the
as they
start-
get a good sponsor, because
yes.
they have good publicity now. So as long as they get a good sponsor with good money, they should keep
Because-
progressing in the way they are.
Ivan, you know they still have Latifi's dad, eh? They'll have Latifi's dad for next season also. And this guy is Stroll wealthy. I don't know if you know that. He's the one who owns Sofina Foods. He's the one who sponsored, I think, he's sponsoring Williams this season. He actually owns 10% of McLaren, by the way, if I'm not wrong. You see, so he's not such a bad sponsor. You see, and Williams are getting better slowly. Okay, their race pace is still bad. You see, but they're trying their best.
They've
So
improved a
it's
lot,
not-
so that's
Yeah,
the thing. That's all
they've
that matters.
improved. Yeah, they've improved a lot. So, what's your prediction for this weekend?
I think if it stays just as hot as people are saying it is, so if on the race we
Yeah.
still get just as hot, if not hotter temperatures, I think Mercedes are gonna struggle. I think Red Bull are gonna know that they have an advantage and they're gonna pull out all the stops. So
Yes.
I predict, and this is not even hoping now, but I think if the temperatures stay as hot as they are, we're gonna see
Yeah.
another Max win with probably Mercedes behind him. But as I said, if we want to have an interesting season, I hope that the tires on the Mercedes do blow up and the guys DNF. But that's hopeful
Okay.
thinking. But I do
Guys-
think that Red Bull will take advantage again if it's another really hot weekend.
Ivan, you know Mercedes fans will take this video badly, but this is the thing. It's not that we have anything against Mercedes. We just want interesting Formula One. You see, if
Yeah,
Mercedes
we want a
had-
competitive season. We want a competitive
exactly.
championship.
If Mercedes had a driver who was like Nico Rosberg, or if we can get Nico back and he does what he was doing before, us we will not mind at all. Because we're gonna have proper side-by-side action where Hamilton and Rosberg take each other out. We want to see such. You see, we don't see a race where you guys follow. Dude, it's like a fucking train, man. Come on. Yeah, like there's nothing we're really seeing. The first British Grand Prix, Ivan, how long did they wait to show Mercedes? They were showing us Mercedes on lap 30 or something. They showed
Not
us
even
Mercedes
later.
in the
They only
beginning.
they showed us Mercedes at the start, obviously at the restart of the safety.
Exactly.
And then
when
we
they were
didn't
pitting-
see Mercedes until Bottas' tire blew up.
No, until Kvyat went off, that's when we saw a bit of Mercedes. And then from there, cause they are so far ahead. Like this Formula 1 is not meant to be like this. You see, let me use WRC as an example. Right now in WRC, we have 4 guys fighting for the title. You do not know at what point who will take it, because there's things called car failures and such. You see, car reliability. Such shit happens. In F1, Bana, nothing is happening. Dude, this weekend we only had one retirement, Ivan Bana, which was Magnussen. And
It wasn't even, I think, yeah, it
wasn't a
wasn't
crash.
even a reliability thing. He ran out of
Yeah,
time. I
exactly.
remember.
Like these cars have become so reliable, it's become boring, Bana. What the hell is going on, man? You see, this is just, I'm just saying what we want. Mercedes fans, you can take this as badly as you want, I don't care. But we just want to see an interesting season. Bottas is not gonna give us that, to be honest. Bottas as
not
the way
just
Mercedes
Bottas.
is
Mercedes are
treating
not
him.
going to let it. That's they've shown this in the
you
past
see-
couple of races.
Exactly, they're not gonna let us see that, and we wanna see teammates. Like, even though you guys take it, you remember Nico versus Hamilton. Those two would fight. Like, I really think that those two. Do they still have beef? Do they talk to each other?
No, they're still, yeah. They said that relationship can't be mended.
You see, and we wanna see teammates fight like that, man. We don't wanna see teammates congratulate each other. Sir, you've won. Okay, it's not bad to congratulate someone. You see, but we wanna see proper racing. This is what F1 is about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of late, man. Yeah. Because this race was just okay. We wanted Max. I personally wanted Max to win. Ferrari, if Hamilton stayed out longer, Ferrari would have gotten a podium. But now Mercedes, I think they brought him in at the right. That was okay. It wasn't such a bad strategy call, but it was unfair to Bottas.
Yeah.
You see, because Bottas fought, man. And you could hear it in his voice. When that race ended, you could just hear it.
Because he was even managing the tires better than Hamilton as well.
He was
before
doing
all
everything.
the pits happened.
Do you know, Ivan? Do you know how good? Because Bottas learned his lesson after last year's British Grand Prix. You remember when Hamilton got the edge just because of tire. That's all. Hamilton got the edge just because of tire management. That's the only reason Hamilton won that race. You see, Bottas got better, and this year he came back better. But the team is just messing him up, man. And there's nothing he can do about it. You see?
Yeah.
He just has to drive, because he's getting paid a lot of money anyway. So he just has to get over it.
Yeah, exactly.
You see? And also, okay, McLaren, that wasn't such a bad race for them. Wait, what position did they finish?
I think...
Okay, Renault was that was a bad race for them, man. That was a really bad race for them. Ivan, from seeing them in almost like, this guy almost got a podium. What's his name? Ricardo almost started on the podium. You see, he almost started in the third place.
Yeah.
But he got pushed down by Hülkenberg and Max. So he started on the same, he was, I think, 6th. It wasn't such a bad place to start, but it was just a bad race for him.
Yeah, he spun out towards the end, so
Yes.
that's his biggest issue. But Ocon finished in the points, so it wasn't that bad for them. I think McLaren did a lot worse than Renault did.
Yes, I don't know what F1 on it. Okay, I really wish that these regulations weren't pushed. The new regulations, I wish they weren't pushed to 2021, because we would be having teams working on their next year car this year, and it would make next year so goddamn interesting. You see.
Yeah.
But as is right now, let's wait and see. We should have some interesting news tomorrow with the whole Concord agreement, and also with the FIA. With actually not the FIA, with the Racing Point being taken to court. Because I think now it's going to be real lawyers, and
it's going
judges.
into international court
exactly.
now.
So it's gonna be drama. Now Mercedes is gonna get in trouble for sure. I don't know how and I don't know where, but Mercedes is gonna get in trouble for sure.
They said if Mercedes supplied these parts this year, in January or earlier, then they are in trouble. If they supplied them last year, then they're safe.
And the thing that we're talking about right now is no longer the front brake ducts; it's the rear ones. Those are the main issue now.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's see. So your prediction, you said this weekend, Max and
if it stays the same hot temperature, then I think Red Bull will take advantage again and Max will win again.
I think my prediction for me is I think by chance. Let me not jinx it. Every time I talk about Ferraris, some shit happens. There's a time on the group I said, I wonder who's gonna bring out the first yellow flag. The sad part is that Ferrari did that in the first lap. Man, I was so disappointed. So since then, I just go silent. So I think, I want Red Bull. We wanna see a proper championship fight. So I really want Mercedes not to finish this race. I've said it, I don't have anything against Mercedes. I just want an interesting championship fight. So I hope Hamilton does not finish by chance, and Max gets that win, and Bottas gets second place or third place. So Bottas, and also Ferrari finish on the podium. So do you have anything else to add?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I think we've covered everything that's going to be happening in the future and what's happened in this past Grand Prix as well. And then after Spain, the biggest news about this whole quali modes is what we'll be able to see once they go to Belgium.
That's one of the things we all want, because it's going to bring... Okay, it'll slow down Mercedes. It's going to slow down... Okay, I'm not really sure it will slow down Mercedes, because Mercedes has some really strong race pace, like natural, because we all saw how quickly Hamilton closed that gap, honestly. Once the gap between him and Bottas. Anyway,
I think that was mostly tires, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, you can blame the tires. This guy closed 2 seconds. He went 2 seconds quicker than Max and Bottas did, man. You see, so okay, Hamilton really, I think once he changed tires, he went all out. But We want to see borders being treated fairly. Anyway, I think that's enough for today, guys. The video might. Okay, today we're a bit shorter. Yeah, today I think this is good enough. We've covered everything. Next video next week. You've had our predictions. Feel free to comment your predictions also. Anyway, guys, goodbye.